All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DSP News 2nd Edition. I'm your host, GTG. Let's get right into it. We are here, or you are here, for the DSP News request line. Something along those lines. And we have something very, very important for you today. Great request. The videos by Be Awesome One, as you know, with all videos that I do on this channel, the link to the original video without my annoying voice will be in the description. And it's DSP Tries It, addressing AdBlock users, addressing negativity, and missing the point again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the main reason, I want you guys to take in the whole video, obviously, because that's what makes it relevant, but I really want you guys to focus on the financial aspects of it. Since Phil's finances are such a prevalent thing to him, and him enforcing that thought process onto the pay piggies is equally important. I want you guys to think about and listen to what Phil is talking about back in Connecticut. I don't have an actual date for this video, I apologize. But it's back in Connecticut. It's back in at least the first couple of years of him doing YouTube where he's being paid. You know what I'm saying? Where he's getting paid off of his gaming, off of his actual gaming content, not the vlogs that he was getting paid from almost the beginning. The gaming content. And I want you to listen to how he is trying to curve and or manipulate people into supporting him. How he talks about people who are doing this for honest work, or people who decide to do this for a living, and so on and so forth, and they depend on your viewership, and they depend on you guys contributing, if you will, or doing little things to help make the machine work. And I think, yet again, it delves into, and it exploits in a lot of ways, a fan base that he continues to exploit to this day. What it does is it lays down, you're going to see, I believe, it's been a long time since I've seen this video, but it lays down the groundwork of what you see today. As I have always said, the point that I've always pushed on this channel as well as on the main channel is that Phil's past is a roadmap to his future. And a lot of the things that you see isn't necessarily new. It's something that he has done before and he has refined over years. But a lot of it comes down to mental exhaustion that he has exhibited and he has enforced onto people over the span of years. It's absolutely amazing the further and further you go back in Phil's timeline that you get to see more and more of this nonsense and what kind of comes about, how it all comes about. Crazy stuff. Any which way, thank you yet again to the individual who requested it. Sorry, I can't talk right now. Who requested the video. And I'm not going to hold you guys up. Let's just go ahead and get into the video itself. And I hope to make it entertaining, and hopefully we all learn something, because at the end of the day, that's what's most important. This is DSP News 2nd Edition, your friendly request line. I'll see you guys in just a second. Here we go.
Subject that's near and dear to my heart personally, and a lot of you obviously know why. Just the issues, excuse me, that YouTubers, people who stream on Twitch TV, in particular regarding games and gamers and gaming.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, just from what he said, I'm thinking this is 2013, 2014. He brought up Twitch, and Twitch is only relevant to him because he's on Twitch, obviously. So I would assume that's the timeline. I hope to get that for you literally in just a second. Ladies and gentlemen, yet again, we are here with Be Awesome One. DSP Tries It, addressing AdBlock users, addressing negativity, and missing the point again. Here we go.
Issues that these people have been having, especially those who try to do it and make it a living doing it, in regards to negativity, feedback, hate, people basically stealing content, using AdBlock while they're viewing content when they well know that's taking away from the living, the potential living that person who you're watching, who you claim you're a fan, you claim you're a loving viewer, and you want to see that person succeed, yet you can't be bothered during this, for perfect example, this commercial break that I just ran.
A loving fan? Phil, these people these people don't have to love you. To be honest with you. They can enjoy the content. They may even love the content. But they're not here to be surrogate parents to you, or surrogate caretakers, if you will. They're not there for that, and that's one of the problems that I've always had with Phil. Is he's always expected, because in a lot of ways they did. He expected his audience, which eventually turned into his fan base, which eventually turned into the cult that it is today, to literally take care of him. And I don't mean just financially. Okay, I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about emotionally in a lot of ways. He has stated before, eventually we're going to get to that video, whether someone requests it or we just end up hitting it. We're going to eventually hit this video, where he said that he would have been nothing without YouTube. YouTube, in a lot of ways, gave him a purpose in life. He had nothing. He didn't think he'd ever be anything without YouTube. Now, granted, we've heard a bunch of YouTubers say that over the years. I'm sure most of you have as well. The difference is, in my opinion, is that with Phil, he really believes that. He really believes that. And, ladies and gentlemen, if that was really true, in my mind, then why didn't he take better care of this? Why didn't he treat those people with respect? Why didn't he do more for them? Why didn't he do more for himself through his content? No, he just put it out there and just expected people to deal with it. And if you didn't deal with it, well, you weren't true fans in the first place, so get the fuck out. You're talking about people who were there with him for years. Some of them were there from the beginning. I don't know.
You couldn't be bothered to just leave your ad block off and maybe let it play an ad or two so that someone can make a couple pennies, right? And I'll tell you right now, it's an epidemic. It's an increasing epidemic. Let me give you an example, first of all. First, let's talk about ads.
Real quick, I want you to think about this, that it's an epidemic, right? Because this, ladies and gentlemen, preceded turn off that pesky ad block by another lolcow, Monday Matt. That's how far ahead of the curve Phil is. But also, and I want you to think about this clearly, this is one of the reasons and one of the theories that I have, that people like Review Tech USA, people like maybe Low Tier God to a very, very small extent, though he'll never admit it. Low Tier God to a very, very small extent, maybe. Definitely Monday Matt, definitely Rich from Review Tech USA, Wings to some degree. All of them were kind of influenced by DSP in some way, shape, or form. Some of them were more bold about it than others. Like, I'd never, up till the time Low Tier God really started to make a name for himself streaming, I had never heard about someone charging $20 for the face cam. Well, it was what, $10 to turn the mic on, $20 for the face cam, and then after a while, it was like someone had to buy a shirt for certain to keep the face cam on for the whole stream, and so on and so forth. I'd never heard anybody do that before, but that sounds like an early architect, or it sounds like the early plans of what DSP would have done if he was brave enough to do it. It may have not have been something directly, but it would have. It's definitely a spin-off, if you will, of what Phil would have done later on down the line if he was brave enough to do it. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at just some of the shit that all of those individuals have done at one time or another, you could probably date a lot of that back to DSP, especially with Rich. Well, Rich now, he says he's learned and he lost all this weight and whatever. But beforehand, when he was sitting there doxing people and he was sitting there getting people's channels taken down and he was getting videos taken down, that sounds right up DSP's alley, because DSP had done all that himself. So, yet again, you're kind of seeing how the genesis, if you will, of a lot of the lolcows. And these are lolcows who have interacted with DSP in one time or another. Like I said, Low Tier God is exempt of a lot of that. But you kind of get my drift, I think.
Which I know will be controversial, and I'm sure people will take parts of this video and clip it up. Oh, look, Phil said this. Let's take 400 things out of context to make him look like a villain. Whatever. I like to be honest, and I'm not going to stop what I say because some idiot's going to take it out of context for their own evil purposes. So fuck them. Let's talk turkey. The bottom line is that...
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I got it. This video, the video that you are watching that comes off Be Awesome One's channel, was published May 21st of 2014. So I was kind of right. I was at least somewhat right in the 2013-2014 ballpark. Okay, so give him, outside of a little bit of credit, and he ended up grabbing clips from a multitude of different other channels themselves to put it all together. Yet again, Be Awesome One's video will be in the description. You can check it out without my annoying commentary, and you can get the full experience. But we're in early 2014.
The YouTube of today and the YouTube of 2011 are night and day. They're completely different. In 2011, almost everyone was, wow, YouTube, this is cool. Somewhere where you can upload all your videos and you can see people do commentaries and play games, and you can see competitions, and you can see anything you want on YouTube. News, political commentary, social commentary, satire, comedy, anything could be seen on YouTube. And it was this big burgeoning thing. People flocked to it by the millions to watch this content. Back then, it wasn't as commonplace of a thing where your browser has fucking AdBlock Plus already installed in it when you download it, and you see no ads on YouTube. Most people went there and there were ads, okay, they're a little annoying or whatever, but they would bear with them to watch this fun and entertaining content. The world of 2014 is a very different place. Here's what's happened. Basically, in 2011, a lot of people found out that there were going to be these companies who were partnering people to do what they love on YouTube. And it's not just gaming, but gaming's a big part of it. I'm talking do-it-yourself stuff, guru-style stuff, makeup, fashion, glamour, news, carpentry, that kind of stuff. But also celebrity gossip, comedy skits, big things that could get hugely popular. And they found out we're going to partner these people, these creative people.
Now, real quick, if you guys remember back in, it was either either middle of 2018 or it might even been the end of 2017, 1 to 2, when Phil admitted to watching makeup tutorials. He said that like offhandedly, but that was kind of funny. But the part that I really want to emphasize, I just threw that out there for comic relief, kinda. It failed, I'm sure. Is the fact that Phil used to always say that he never really watched other people's content. He only focused on his own. Now, granted, if you predate that statement, obviously he watched Angry Video Game Nerd and a bunch of other different people. But one of the big things that's happened in 2019 that has been exposed many, many times is the fact that Phil has borrowed from other people throughout the years. He's borrowed either their gimmicks or certain aspects of their personalities throughout the years to form Dark Side Phil. That's one big thing that's been definitely drawn out with the whole Howard Stern thing, the Angry Video Games Nerd thing, as well as a couple other things that he's snatched and grabbed. So, and that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a direct contradiction of the whole one man band. I'm a master of impromptu comedy. I've never been influenced by anybody. I've never looked up to anybody. When in actuality, all of that was just a joke. It was all, no one could possibly take any of that seriously. Some of those kids back then, I should say, might have eaten that shit up. But in reality, it's very obvious that wasn't the situation. And then when he ended up getting in trouble, those people who, quote unquote, influenced him that didn't influence him were the first people that he brought up to throw under the bus as shields, if you will. Now his new stick is that, oh, well, if this movie can do this, why can't I do it? Or if this television show does it, why can't I do it? Like, he really equates what he does on YouTube and on Twitch, mainly Twitch now, to what goes on in actual media, on actual television, whether TV, satellite, or whatever the case may be. He literally considers what he does as equal to actual entertainment, with actual production, with actual actors and actresses, with plots, with scripts, and all of those things. It shows a level of narcissism, sure, but it also shows a level of delusion. that he could even equate himself to some of these people who went to acting school for who knows how long. You know what I mean? Think about that. And then when you bring up his failures, he immediately directs that to other people, despite the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that he failed on his own before most of those people really even came into play. The viewership was already dwindling, if you will. Hence the reason why you have videos like this that exist. Here we go.
People, we're going to put ads on their videos, and we're going to make money, and we're going to pay them for it, and we're going to make them rich too. And all of a sudden, in 2011, gamers like myself started getting partnered with companies like Machinima. And immediately, this is what happens. Whenever this happens... Actually, hold on. I gotta go the extra mile. There you go. Paper. Whenever the paper's involved, that's when things change. Because immediately... Actually,
if you think about it, I think this preceded the Angry Joe $7 in my wallet type stick over the Nintendo monetization stuff. So he beat that out too. And granted, you have a lot of big YouTubers who admitted to watching Dark Side Phil back in the day. So a lot of I know I'm actually giving him credit here, but if you think about it, even if those individuals weren't thinking about that at the time, in some way Phil had an influence on some of them. Obviously in a negative way. The only person who took that and ran with it was well, he didn't run with the negativity, but he ran with the early clown mode shit, was PewDiePie, if you think about it.
Immediately, when people said, wait a minute, that...
Now keep in mind, there's more to it than that. I'm just kind of giving you something offhanded, but you know what I mean.
Side Phil guy's doing that. Man, I could do that too, you know? I mean, I don't believe that he's so popular. He has creativity and people rush, right? And it's not just me. I'm using myself as an example because I was one of the people who first had their gaming channel partnered and started making good money doing it, okay? And what ended up happening was you had massive amounts of people flood the fucking website. Flood. So now anytime you want to see a game, there's 5,000 people doing playthroughs with ads all over the fucking thing. Donate money, send money, give us money. And it's like, how different is that from when I even started? You know what I mean? That it was just...
But you have been taking donation money from people to buy games, as at least so I've seen, is as early as 2009. Which is when he was still working, ladies and gentlemen, for the helicopter company. He was accepting money for that. Actually, on this channel, I have the video where it's the, I think it's like 30K, it's like 30 or 60K subs, and then the Modern Warfare 2, excuse me, and the Modern Warfare 2 plans. I think it's something close to that in title. And he talks about being given sizable donations through his PayPal behind the scenes, and that's 2009. That's 2009. So how is he going to bring those same things up, those same avenues of support, contributions, whatever you want to call it, when he's done it himself? And as B Also One has here, this is the same individual who has begged his viewership on every one of his live streams to become paid subs. But isn't that interesting though? Because didn't Phil say when he left Twitch the first time that, oh, Twitch is all about, you know, sub to this, buy this merch, do this, that, and the third. Support, you know, give your contributions or whatnot. But yet, he's been doing all that too. But didn't he say on Twitch that there wasn't really a way to make money in his first round on Twitch? But he didn't bring up the whole situation with subs. And he had, what, at his peak, he may have had something between 3,000 and 5,000 subs, paid subs. That's a lot of money each month. And then it's funny when he left Twitch. Let me add this thing on because I just got a thought from a Tevin video, praise be, that when he left Twitch, he started Patreon the first time. He left Twitch, started Patreon, and asked for what, $1,200 to $1,500 a month? And what was that money for, ladies and gentlemen? To supplement his income on Twitch, as well as use it as a lure to go ahead and try to get the big payoff for the Project 7 reboot, which was $7,000 that he ended up walking away from after 6 months of leading these people on. And what did he give up Project 7 for? Oh, for I'm sorry, Street Fighter V, which he ended up screwing them out of that anyway because he didn't even like it. He hates that game now. You see how like deep the pig hole, the pig trough goes? Like it gets really disgusting. But yet again, this is the type of hypocritical type bullshit that Phil thinks is buried under libraries upon under a library upon a library of bullshit. Let me reword that. He believes that this stuff is so deep in his catalog that no one would go out of their way to look for it. And so if you didn't have detractors in general, it'd been really hard to find any of these things unless you could remember a lot of it. And sometimes for a lot of people, that's just not enough. Just my opinion, of course.
Fun, and you could tell there was nothing involved for monetary gain. It was for the love of the game. And it's the same thing with any business. Sports started out as a fun competition. All of a sudden, oh, I'm going to sign you to make paper, son. And all of a sudden, all it's about is the money again, right? And now it's corporate, and there's ads all over it, and the season's way too fucking long because they want to make more money and run more advertisements. And it's horrible. And this happens with anything. And this is what's happened with YouTube. Now, here's the problem. Back then, in 2011, you had what? 20, 30 people who were really big gamers on YouTube and had ads on their videos. So that wasn't that big of a deal. Now you've got 500,000 people who flooded YouTube, who all want to get ads on their videos, and now it's a fucking problem, right? Now it's an epidemic. Now you try to watch any clip on YouTube.
Now, it's funny how when it was him and a couple other people who were bigger than him at that time, when it was that small pond, I'll use that analogy because I've done it before, when it was this small pond of people, he didn't care. He would say, oh, their content's all right, but I'm going to do it in a different way. I'm going to go the extra mile they didn't. But when it was a small pond, it was all gravy. But when everybody started to rush in, when everybody started to do it, when other people came up with better ideas or with more innovative ideas than what was already going on, when people started to establish an actual standard, right, for how video content can be done. I won't say should be done, but can be done. And how people started to build off of that. When content creation finally had a solid foundation where people could build off of, that's when Phil got pissed off. Because more and more Phil's fans were watching other people. And they were watching them do direct capture. They saw them doing nifty little, in Phil's words, nifty little edits and so on and so forth. Bells and whistles, as Phil likes to go ahead and throw it out there. And it was improving the content. A lot of the playthroughs were cut down. They were well cut. They were well edited. They were to the point. Yeah, they had some comedic depths in there, and they may have some stuff that kind of, to emphasize it. But essentially, you have a smooth, reel-to-reel playthrough. Cutting out the boring shit. Cutting out the dead air. Cutting out all the nonsense. And Phil didn't like that because now people are going to demand that of him. And he was pissed off about it. He talks all this bullshit about, oh, people had all this high production value and they had companies doing all this big business around them and this, that, and the third. Those people had to be spotlighted first. So guess what? That means they had to do all of that on their own. Now, here's my point. Why would Phil be complaining about all of that when in late 2010, 2011, he was already making good money? He had the money. He had the resources to do a lot of these things. He just didn't have the know-how because he didn't want to. He wanted to keep this as low budget as possible. He is like, let me give you guys an example. And I don't mean to, for anybody who's in film, I don't mean to insult. But he's like, damn, because I got friends in film too. But they'll get it. They'll understand where I'm coming from with it. Hopefully. He's like an amateur filmmaker who had a couple of great hits, who made a lot of money, made himself a little bit of a name. Now, people really want to see him go to the next level and really push his creativity to the level that it should be, right? So it can get the reach, it can have the audience, and more importantly, it can bring more money. And he can get all the accolades that come with that. The problem is that filmmaker's lazy. That filmmaker likes a small budget, a small little crew, probably close friends of his or hers. They want to keep everything incredibly simple. They don't want to put a lot of ambition behind it. They want to keep it they just want to keep it really straightforward. Or it's all those same properties, but they just don't want to spend the extra money. You know what I mean? They want to use the same camera over and over. They don't want to improve and go to something else. They may not be willing to shoot at certain locations because they only have a certain amount of time, and maybe they have to pay for additional time. Maybe they would have to pay for some extras in that area, and they don't want to do that, and so on and so forth. You can come up with a bunch of different reasons. Phil was like that. He was lucky enough to fall into a situation, so to speak, even though I hold to the theory that he planned for this. But he found himself a little situation. He made himself a shitload of he made himself some money off of it, a lot of money. I can't even understate that. He made himself a lot of money. He got himself a little bit of notoriety. And as other people came in and started pushing that bar, he felt he didn't need to. He felt that, oh, let them go ahead and improve. Let them go to direct capture. Let them get better audio and all that bullshit. All the green screens and all that nonsense that he complains about now. Let them have that. I'll have this market cornered, and I'll still get some of their shit because I'll occasionally do a skit. Or I will occasionally do a best of. Or I will occasionally do an edited piece of work, and I'll still be able to break into their market, but no matter what, I'll always have this on lock, so I'll always be ahead of the search engine. That's how he thought. And he didn't realize that that wasn't enough, because a lot of those individuals, even to this day, to be honest, they have replay value. And that's something that Phil never thought about. Or he didn't think about it the way he should have. They had replay value. You can either watch 150 parts of a playthrough from this idiot, from this idiot here, or you can watch a 40-part playthrough of the same game by someone else that you'll watch every one of those videos that come out until the very end. Then you go back a couple months later and you just watch it all through again because it was that good, because it was that entertaining. You can come back 6 months later and do that. How many people are doing that for a Phil Burnell, a DSP, a Dark Side Phil playthrough of any game? He talks about, oh, people tell me they go back and watch my old stuff, but how many people do you honestly think really do that? Think about it.
YouTube, and there's a 4-minute full fucking preview for a movie that's the dumbest, stupid, most uninspired piece of shit you've ever seen, and there's no skip button to skip the ad. And you're like, what the fuck is this? I don't want to see this 4-minute long piece of shit. Stupid trailer. So you get AdBlock, you install it, right? And now everything's free. No waiting, no pop-ups. No, if I'm on Twitch TV and I'm watching this live stream, I don't have to see a Cracker Barrel ad pop up, and I don't have to hear about Monostat C or whatever the fuck it is, and hear about, yeast infections and all kinds of disgusting ads that you never wanted to hear to begin with. I can skip all that shit and I get all the content for free. Great. And smooth sailing. And of course, all of us are going to survive forever because everyone's watching content with no ads on it. The end. Period. Wrong! Wrong! I don't know how much louder I can yell.
Now, yet again, this is before, ladies and gentlemen, that the alleged trolls and haters really started coming out his neck. So if we're bitching about finances at this point, early 2014, that gives you an idea of where his spending was at and what his income is like. Now, as it pertains to income, and you'll hear plenty of detractors have their different takes on this, I hold to the theory. It took a while to get here, though, to be honest. I don't believe Phil's in the financial straits that he says he is. What I think is that he's used to a certain amount of money to come through, and when he doesn't get it, he panics, and that's when he comes up with these stupid-ass stories, and we go into full begging mode. That's when the overdrafts come across. That's when all this nonsense comes about. And as this goes on, he's going to divulge more and more information that's only going to get him in more and more trouble. Phil's an idiot, you see, so he doesn't see that. I think that's what comes up here. I think in 2011, 2012, 2013, he made a certain amount of money, and that's what he was expecting. When the decline in viewership came about, he has to make videos like this to try to get people to contribute to him, whether through PayPal or whether click more ads, to help bring that back up to where it's at, to where he feels comfortable. Because Phil is very much a creature of habit. He's used he's used to having certain things to be the way it is, which adds to the normality of his situation. If he doesn't have that, he panics. And I think finance is no different. That's why I think a lot of what he's saying about his financial situation now is a lie. Because how can anybody just sit on their ass and possibly lose their house, possibly lose their car that they barely drive, possibly lose their wife, and just show up on stream every day and keep playing video games like shit and be a terrible entertainer and think it's all just going to get better? More importantly than that, if he was really in the financial straits that he says he is, how is it that he has the ability to keep coming back and showing up on stream to play video games day after day after day? It doesn't make any sense. How is it that you're in overdraft every single goddamn month and someone at a bank or at a credit union or whatever the case may be, some type of financial institute that he's associated with, hasn't called him yet and been like, hey, Phil, we're not going to cover you on this if you don't have the money? How is it that he's 37 years old and he can't figure out how to budget his circumstances that he's been in for the last couple of years? Mommy and daddy already agreed to take care of the taxes. Hell, mom and dad probably had been taking care of the taxes. He might have been lying about that too. So tell me how he doesn't have this under control. And Phil is a pathological liar, ladies and gentlemen, to the 10th degree. He lies as easily as he breathes. And he doesn't think about the consequences, and even if the consequences were to come up, he would immediately say it's a lie, it's something that these people made up, they took him out of context. He has all his little buzzwords and phrases to counteract that, if you will. So how can anybody take him seriously? How can anybody take him at his word under those circumstances? Just a point I wanted to bring up.
Wrong! Because what's happened now is because so many people oversaturated the market and put so many ads on everything that every person is now using AdBlock. And what's happened then is those people who you love, people who've been there putting out entertaining content for you for years, people who, you know, at one point were sitting pretty, they're like, if I keep making this kind of money, my God, I'm going to be living the life. You know what I mean? Now,
which shows you how unrealistic this motherfucker is. But on top of that, he talks about, oh, other people are fucking the business up because they put all of these ads on one of their videos and it's saturating the market. How about this asshole right here, ladies and gentlemen, who put out 30 videos a day? How about that? How is what he doing, sorry, I apologize. How is it that what he's doing is okay? Putting out 30 videos a day with what? 1, 2, or whatever ads that he could fit in a 10, 15, or 20-minute video. Whereas someone who puts out a well-edited, a well-constructed video that's maybe 20 minutes to a half hour, however long they permitted them to do so back in 2014, they have maybe 4 ads or 5 ad rolls or whatever the case may be. How is what they're doing any more devious, any more disgusting, killing the that contributes to killing the market than this idiot right here who put out 30 videos a day? Think about that. Think about that and what and that nonsense. And then to add to that, ladies and gentlemen, he has the nerve to say, oh, I was making so much money back then, I was sitting pretty. Shit, I'm living good. But yet we didn't save not a goddamn dime of it. If he was making anywhere close to what people speculated he was making, that condo could have been paid off before he left it. Before he left to go to Seattle, or, you know what I mean, go to Washington State, Renton, Washington. He could have had that condo paid off. But he didn't do that. He wanted to keep making the bare minimum payments. So let's go ahead and think another. So now let's think another way. Walk with me for a minute. If Phil is making so much money, and he got himself out of debt from his FGC days, right? And he was sitting so pretty and everything. He didn't save any money. And he was making he was making crazy money, but he didn't save any of it. Why the hell did this idiot have to go to 3 different banks until he could get approved for a mortgage? Why didn't he have, oh, I don't know, $50,000 to put down? enough to where the bank can feel comfortable with his income and with his level of responsibility that, okay, you got 50 grand, we can throw the rest of the money up and go out there and try to get that house. Why didn't he do that? Why did he want the bank to bankroll everything? And let me go ahead and throw another thing at you. This is just a thought. I have no proof of this at all. What if the down payment for that house, for the house in Seattle, what if Phil didn't have the money for that? What if mommy and daddy had to kick up the money for that? I'm not saying mommy and daddy had to put their mortgage up to help Phil. I'm not saying that. At least I hope they didn't do that. But what if they had to actually drum up the money to do so? Because I'll tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, and I tell you this with a level of confidence, with a level and a sense of confidence, that mommy and daddy have been contributing money to Phil ever since he lost that job at the helicopter company. They always supplemented him afterwards. I almost guarantee it. So even those years when he was making the big money on YouTube, mommy and daddy were still helping him in some way, shape, or form. Because I don't believe Phil told him exactly what he was making. I don't believe that at all. I do not. And I'm sure there's someone that I've been talking to who would also believe that same thing. I'm talking to them on Twitter. So we think that his parents had no idea what his financial situation was. And I still believe they don't have a real idea of what his financial situation is now. They only know what he tells them. Nothing more. So when we think about all these people that show up on his streams, think of them as suckers, as saps, or whatever the case may be. His parents are the biggest ones because they've been contributing to him from the jump. They've been supporting this idiot for 10 plus years, if not longer. And with that thought process, they'll support him until the day they die. Now, most of you are going to be like, come on, GTG, they're his parents. That's true. They are his parents. And as a parent, you want the best for your children. But Jesus Christ, ladies and gentlemen, he made more money than his parents did for a number of years. And he still wanted support from them. And I supplement that thought process with the fact that he's had people giving him money through his PayPal for years. So you're telling me that he would take free money from strangers online who supposedly love him and his content, but he wouldn't take actual money from the people who actually do love him, his parents? Something to think about.
Now all of a sudden, that paper is only about that much paper. And next year, maybe that much paper. And how long is it until it's only that much? You know what I mean? Because the bottom line is, if these partnership companies don't make money on ads, that means they're not going to re-sign these people to make the content that you love. And these people are not going to be able to make a living doing it. Which means, guess what? They're going to have to go back to the job-seeking market, which, by the way, is incredibly bad in America right now. It still is. And they're going to have to seek, regular jobs to occupy their time, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with holding a regular job, but don't expect these people to be putting out the quality content that you've come to love over the years.
I thought you said 9 to 5 jobs were for suckers. Also, if you love what you do, you'll continue to find a way to do it. It may not be as consistent. It may not be as often, but you'll still find a way to do it. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, that people back then could go without 30 fucking videos a day. I'm sorry. I think they could go without, what is that, 250 videos a week? I think they could go without that. I really do. I really think they could have made it. I really think, just a little bit. I think they could have made it. I think they would have survived.
Anymore. It's cause and effect. Entertaining people go to YouTube, start making money. Every other Joe Schmo schlub on the planet says it's easy money. I want to make it big doing nothing too. They rush to YouTube. They oversaturate YouTube with ads. Now everyone uses AdBlock. And now the people who really were the core people who inspired people to go there to begin. Actually,
excellent point by Be Awesome One. Not everybody who does YouTube did YouTube back then for money, which goes back to another point that's constantly being pointed out by other detractors, is Phil's mindset. Phil thinks that if people, that when he's doing something, that everybody believes in doing that too. That exact way. right? So Phil thinks, oh, this is an easy job. I can do this for money, which is what he said when he got fired in the video where I'm fired and whatever the case may be. And he said he could possibly do this, and he was already doing it, and, you know, he might be able to make a living off of it. Now he's shitting on people who decide to do it too, X amount of years later, under the implication that he believes everybody in America or everybody that's on YouTube is doing YouTube for money. When you have some people who've been on YouTube since the beginning and never made a dime. They never strived to do so. And if they did, they didn't do it the way he did. They ended up gaining sponsorships, they ended up forming partnerships, and they did it without ever touching Google's money. You know what I'm saying? Or an MCN money. Ever. They did it. There were plenty of other ways back then, excuse me, as there is now, to make money on YouTube without ads. There are plenty of ways of doing it. But Phil never thought about doing any of that. He never diversified like that. And when he did, he failed at it. So he abandoned it. But it's his thought process that is the problem too. You're starting to see, well, you're not starting to see because it's always been there. You're seeing some of the early stages of some of his mental instability and why that behavior and that mindset affected him later on down the line, at least in my opinion.
With the people who are putting out the entertaining content and you still love it, they're the ones that get fucked. Because let's face it, all those other little guys who rushed to YouTube to be wannabes and the ones that flooded the market to begin with, those are the guys who weren't putting out the quality content. They probably weren't getting the views anyway, and so probably they weren't affecting anything. It's the guy who inspired fucked. Now, by no means, again, am I personally just talking about myself. There have been big YouTubers coming out over the past month and a half saying, listen, we're in dire straits. You know, a lot of these YouTubers aren't like me. They actually have contracts that are not view performance based, which I have through Machinima. Theirs are based off of how much money they actually make on ads.
Wait, so you're viewer based at this? Wait a second. Wait. Your contract is viewer based right now with Machinima, but yet you're bitching about ads? Why? What? And B also one brings up an excellent point. How do you know what these other YouTubers are going through when you don't talk to nobody else? And you're not even signed with those companies. And you don't even know what companies they're probably even signed with. And the majority of them, especially if you were creating gaming content back in those days, you were more than likely under Machinima's umbrella. So what? But that's semantics. Let me try to stay focused. He says he's in a viewer-based contract at the moment, but yet we're bitching about AdBlock. Why is that? Was he on a hybrid? Was he on a hybrid contract where part of its views and part of it was actually ad-based until Machinima eventually completely converted him to the ad-based contract? Or, bear with me on this, because I don't know for sure, so this is all speculation. Or was he view-based, but if he agreed to let them throw ads on his videos, then that would give him like a little bit extra. And if so, if let's say that the third option is the case, if so, then why the fuck is he bitching about Toby Turner putting ads on his videos, which Toby Turner didn't do that. That was the people he was associated with. Why would he care about ads being his ad being on, or Toby Turner's ad being on his video, when more than likely Phil's still going to get paid for that video anyway, even if he's getting exposure for someone else, or even if someone else is getting all the exposure? That's like saying, oh, hey, GTG, Dante Crisis, The Jackal's Lair, James the Lesser, the DIA, all these guys are going to have specialized advertisements, promotions, whatever. It's going to be 15 seconds. We're going to roll that on your video. But if I had the channel monetized, obviously, but you're going to get a kickback from that by allowing that to happen. Are you cool with it? Hell yeah, I'm cool with that. What the fuck? Shit. They still got to watch me to watch them. So who cares? That's perfect. But see, it wasn't about the money that came off of that. And that's what I've been thinking for a while, ever since I've been thinking about that whole Toby Turner to Buska situation. It really comes down to Phil's ego. He was mad that someone else who was bigger than him, who was way more successful than him and made more money than him, had their ads featured on his videos. which most people probably didn't see him anyway because most people couldn't watch all the content. Hence the reason why Phil never hit 200,000 subscribers in the first place. He put too much goddamn content out. He didn't give it a chance to breathe. You gotta treat that shit like fine wine. You don't just open up a bottle of wine right away and start pouring that shit and drinking. You gotta let that shit breathe. Well, Phil don't drink wine, so he don't know that.
So if you're watching their content with AdBlock on, they make zero. So basically, they just handed you free content, made no money. How are they supposed to live now? And what job, right, do I walk into an office, I sit down, I work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., I go home, oh, by the way, just as, you know, some crazy circumstance, you're not getting paid today. Oh, well, you know, and that's kind of the worries that a lot of YouTubers have. That's kind of the uncertainty.
Wait, does anybody remember, eventually we'll come across this video because it's in one of these older videos. Does anybody remember a situation, you might have to ask Tevin, Theo, or Arjun about it, or Agent Proper of the DIA, he might remember it too, where Phil had 2 or 3 months while he was on Machinima where he got paid ridiculous money. Like, this money was just, these paychecks were huge, enormous. And obviously he didn't say anything because he's, you know, why would he? And then for the following 2 months, eventually Machinima ended up getting the financial error. They ended up finding out where they made the mistake. So they didn't pay him for 2 months to balance it out. Now, and Phil said, I'm okay with that because these checks were fucking huge. How big of those checks do you think those checks were for him to skip out on 2 pay periods? Well, yeah, because he gets paid each month. How big do you think those checks were that he could skip out on 2 pay periods? Think about that for a minute. Think about that. You get 2 or 3 paychecks that are so goddamn huge that you have no clue where this money's coming from. And then you get 2 months where they don't pay you anything and you're okay with it because it balances out because you made so much these prior months. On top of that, and I might have misremembered that, but I'm pretty confident that I'm somewhat close to it. There was another situation where they had sent Phil like an additional check a couple of times throughout his Machinima run. And these were really big checks. And he was like, well, what's this for? You guys already paid me. Oh, we underpaid you. Whatever. Just take the money. Shut the fuck up. Think about that. So when you think about that into perspective, Machinima might have fucked the shit out of Phil. And he never knew. He never knew. Because even the times that they did pay him and or reimburse him are probably drops in the bucket compared to the times that they really got over on him, if you think about it. If you really, really, really think about it. They probably got over on Phil quite a few times. And they just didn't catch it, and Phil didn't care because he was good with the money that he had, because that's what he was expecting, because that's what he was regimented into thinking, and he just let it go. Wow. Crazy shit.
The risk that's involved in having this kind of internet personality kind of a deal. You don't know tomorrow if YouTube's going to completely change and if you could even monetize. What happened in December and January when all of a sudden, oh, I'm making money. Oh, content ID match. Oops. Now all these third-party companies took all your money and took all your advertising rights on your videos. Huh? Like what? And that's literally what happened in December. Bloop. They took it away. And you had poor guys like Angry Joe, who again, he's with blood, sweat, and tears. You can tell when you watch an Angry Joe video, he puts a ton of effort into it. Big production values, hilarious skits. There are people out there who their internet presence really isn't a serious review source. It's their gimmick, their thing that they do is like, for example, Angry Joe. Everything he does, he gets angry about, okay? So in every review, he nitpicks and finds things to get pissed off about, but that's kind of his character. I mean, let's face it, if you're watching a video from a guy named Angry Joe, there's probably something in there that you should pay attention to, the name. If you're watching someone who's admittedly angry, then you shouldn't weigh that review as much as a serious reviewer who's maybe trying to be more serious.
Now, it's funny, because this was a good catch on Be Awesome One's part. It's funny how Phil does make contradictory type situations like that, or statements, I should say. And he'll shit on someone one day, and then he'll use them later on down the line because it fits his narrative. But isn't that funny, though, ladies and gentlemen? Because isn't that what detractors do? Isn't that what the critics do? Isn't that what the trolls and haters, I just call them all critics now, but detractors and critics, isn't that what they all do? We take little snippets of what we say, or we take these little ideas and theories and we fit it in to the dumb shit narratives to the dumb shit that Phil says to fit our narratives. But he does the exact same thing. He's been doing that since the beginning. Since the beginning. And he has the nerve to sit there and say Angry Joe is a gimmick, like you would say the same thing about, I don't know, let's use somebody. Man versus Game. That's theoretically, if you want to call that a gimmick, but it's his thing. It's his thing. That's how he's focused in his program. Dr. Disrespect, all these things. Everything Phil does is a gimmick. Everything we all have is in some way a gimmick. In some way. I mean, I can really don't speak for myself, but because I'm gimmicky, I gimmick it up all day. But yet again, I don't shit on anybody else for doing it. Shit, I don't even shit on Phil for the fucking dirty ass cowboy hat. Talk to me, or ask me questions, pay me to ask me questions because I think I'm goddamn important. It's funny. It's funny to shit on him for it, but it is what it is. But yet again, I'm not the one running around here shitting on other content creators to make myself feel better and then go ahead and spin that shit into a way of fitting my narrative later. But yet again, excuse me, it goes back to what I said about how he has so much content out there that he would never expect anybody to catch that. Ever. And that's why he has this intense hatred for detractors and critics and so on and so forth. Because we're the living librarians, historians, if you will, of his bullshit. And it's a thankless job to some degree. To some degree. You know what I mean? But it's worthwhile. Because it's the reason why... It's reasons like this is the reason why Low Tier God has his haters and trolls or whatever. Monday Matt definitely has them, and that was a good thing with Monday Matt, given the bullshit he was doing behind the scenes, which you could correlate that back to what Phil was doing. Review Tech USA has his haters, so on and so forth. Wings does too, because a lot of these people are doing slimeball shit behind the scenes that are really screwing people over just because they don't like them or they don't like their narrative. They talk about, oh, come to me and just talk to me and we can work this out. But behind the scenes, you got a bunch of their videos flagged. You see what I'm saying? And Phil isn't above that because Phil's already tried doing all that. And he did it behind the protection of Machinima. Sorry about that. He did it behind the protection of Machinima. And he did it for years. But now he's like, oh, everything that these guys do is illegal, and if I had the money, I would take them all to jail. Or, well, he wants to see all of us in jail, but he wants to, he would take all of us to court and he would sue us. And shut that shit up. You can't sue people for free speech. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. If it did, most supremacy groups would already be behind bars. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, if that was the case, this would literally be Minority Report. We would all be in jail for saying or doing or with the thought of doing something. If you think about it, and that's going to the extreme. Jesus Christ.
Just to get attention and for entertainment purposes? Yes, but that's not the reputable gaming media that you should be trusting for your reviews. Angry Joe, you know his reference. So you know when you watch his review, it's probably going to have a lot of negativity in it. If you don't like that and you're looking for someone who's more fair and balanced, don't watch Angry Joe reviews. Or just don't take them as Bible truth. Take it with a grain of salt.
And then he likes to take his little sip, that's a pattern too, by the way. For any of you guys who've been watching DSP for a long enough time, you see that. But all he does is have negative reviews. And that's from food to video games to whatever. So why should anybody take him seriously? Oh, because he's honest? Who's to say Angry Joe isn't honest? He must be, for him to go off on the tantrum like that. That's like saying, oh, Dr. Disrespect isn't honest when he criticizes the games that he occasionally criticizes. He still plays them, but he still has his criticisms of them, and they're valid as shit. But because he's a gimmick, or you think he's a gimmick, or whatever the case may be, he's in a persona, if you will. We shouldn't take him seriously because you know what to expect from Dr. Disrespect when you go over there, and he doesn't come across as the average Joe Smo, right? Who's been taking donation money from behind the scenes probably since he started? How does that work?
Keep in mind, I'm completely speaking from just what I know of and heard of Angry Joe. I've never watched one of his reviews ever, and I know a lot of people might say, "What?"
So you're talking from a place of ignorance then? And you're obviously lying that you've never watched an Angry Joe review, because he's in your lane. So of course you have. Excuse me. That's like saying that I've never watched. That's like me saying I never watched the Volt Boy video. It's obviously not true. Shouts out to Volt Boy.
Watched Angry Joe? No. I've said this for years. Ever since I got started on YouTube, I'm extremely busy.
Actually, let me edit that. It's like, it would probably actually be more equated to me saying that I never watched like a Theo video, for example. I guess that's probably a better comparison, I suppose. Which, yet again, if I had said that, that'd have been a lie. Of course, I've watched a lot of Theo videos, so I shout him out. You shout out who you watch.
I don't have time to watch videos. I haven't watched an Angry Video Game Nerd video since 2008. I haven't watched Angry Joe ever. They took all his content. They took all the legal, all legal possession of his content and said that it's their advertisement revenue now. Unreal, right? And so you got to understand that any of this can go away at any time. A lot of us are just riding a bubble. I feel the bubble has burst. I used to call it my wave of...
Now that I think about it, when did the Nintendo situation actually happen? And if so, did I give Phil too much credit early on in this video and say that the money gimmick was something that Angry Joe may have actually have seen Phil do and he borrowed it from him? Or is the reality, now that I'm starting to think about it, is that Phil actually took that little spiel there from Angry Joe? Because the way he's describing the situation about they claimed all of his content as theirs, the only company I can remember doing that was Nintendo.
Popularity, I think the wave of popularity now is in a decline because the market's so oversaturated at this point. But if you love the people who you follow, and I'm not just talking me, and it doesn't have to be just games, but people in general who put out entertaining, fun, informative content for you on a daily basis, do them a solid. Disable any kind of ad block. Don't install ad block for YouTube and Twitch, you know?
And this idiot really thought in 2014 that the bubble's about to burst on gaming? When money for gaming was at, like, not even at its all-time high at that point. Some people say it hasn't even reached its peak yet. It's obviously, it's getting there. But 2014 was where, especially for Call of Duty, you know what I'm saying? Call of Duty guys were killing it during that period of time. As well as the fighting game scene was making crazy money for those who were really innovating and trying to get it all up there on YouTube. And that's just two genres of games compared to the others that were out there that were really getting a lot of traffic. So what is he talking about? Yet again, this is Phil not understanding. He's not understanding the actual market himself. He has no clue. He really doesn't. He only knows what's in his little stratosphere, which ain't much, to be honest. And that's all he went off. He was completely ignorant to what was going on around him because he was too goddamn prideful to really pay attention to what other people was doing. He was looking at it. He was looking at those other people's content, but he wasn't actually seeing it. That's his problem. And yet again, I'm still having this nagging, I still got this nagging thing going on because he just told us, ladies and gentlemen, that he is under a view-based contract. But why are we bitching and complaining about AdBlock? What is it that he has tied to AdBlock? What accounts or account does he have tied to AdBlock under a contract that he's so worried about?
People are in some cases, especially in my case, on a complete chance in a position where they can do something that they love for a living. And I know there's nasty people out there. I'm not doing what I love for a living, so God forbid that anyone else be successful either. Fuck them. Ad block, steal the content, upload it to over here. Oh, you can watch it without ads over here. Fuck that guy. He doesn't deserve any money. There are these people who are just miserable because they didn't make it. Okay? And I've always said from the beginning, I'm incredibly lucky. I was a person who, for 3 years, almost 3 years, it was a little over 2 years, was making content on YouTube for nothing. Nothing. It was my hobby. It was fun. It was something that I did when I had a backing.
Now keep in mind, that's a lie too, because he was always making money off his vlogging channel. And what he really means when he says that is that he wasn't making anything off of his gaming content. But that's a lie too, because yet again, He was taking donations, which he made very public, that he would shout you out. If you send him 10, 15, 20 bucks, he'll shout you out in a video because he appreciates it. On top of any larger donations he was getting behind the scenes that no one wanted to be named. And he said that plenty of times too. So yet again, he is making money off YouTube. He has made money off his gaming content. All this is bullshit.
Injury, and I wanted to get a different kind of hobby going with gaming. And I happened into popularity. I never intended it. I never saw this as any kind, and this is all ones, it's nothing anyway, but I never saw this as any kind of an inevitability of what I was doing. I never ever fathomed that making gameplay videos on YouTube would turn into this big thing like it did.
Really? But you were making money off your vlogs, and you never thought that the gaming aspect was going to eventually come around? Because it's real convenient, ladies and gentlemen. It's real convenient that right around the time he gets fired is right around the time he can start making money off his gameplay videos. It's real convenient how that happened. He must be really fucking lucky for something like that to play its way out. And especially since he's never really talked about, at least into any great detail, on why he got fired, but yet he's still extremely resentful for being fired. I don't know, Pumpkin. Something seems a little bit off. Something seems a little bit off.
And the next thing you know, now I'm making money, other YouTubers are coming and making money all off of games. I had no fucking clue. I didn't know that. I just happened to be right in the right place at the right time. But in my situation, I didn't choose this life. I didn't, and I'll be honest, I've said this before. If I had the option of continuously doing my old job and doing YouTube on the side, okay, and making money on both, maybe putting ads on the videos here, but still having that job that's consistent and stable and easy, cheap healthcare and stuff like that, versus what I do today, I would still work that office job.
He's lying. I'm sorry, I know I cut him off just a tad bit early, but he's lying, and we know that because at the time, ladies and gentlemen, he was making about $60,000 a year. We figured that out. Well, people had speculated that for a while, but he actually confirmed that this year. He was making about $50,000 to $60,000 a year at that job. Ain't too bad. It isn't too bad. If he lived within his means, he'd been all right. I mean, eventually he's gonna have to do something to obviously improve his situation, but it's still not too bad. But he was gunning for his father's old position, well, for his father's position, to get that $100,000 a year. This idiot at one time, this guy at one time or another, this idiot may have made up to $240,000 a year. So that's double what his father was bringing in. You really think he would have kept that job and still done that? No, he could have. He could have. Because I'm a firm believer that if he had not uploaded as much content, he would have actually made more money that way, because more people would have watched it. More people would have been what's the word I'm looking for? More people would have been committed to watching his playthroughs if they weren't bombarded with it. You know what I'm saying? If they weren't swarmed with it, right? If he'd actually let that shit breathe a little bit. If he had done 10 videos a day, I think more and more people would have watched it. And so, and at the way that he was cutting his videos up, he honestly would have had videos that could expand it for weeks. For weeks. So that doesn't interfere with his actual job itself, and he just stays on his recording method, maybe drink less. He could have been living pretty. He keeps talking about, oh, I did things this way, this old way and everything, and you guys wanted longer videos, but I was making good money doing it the way he was doing it. But he didn't think about, well, you know what? Maybe if I, instead of doing 30 videos a day, if I only did 10, maybe 15, but I'd say 10 is probably, for him, the sweet spot, he would have had way more viewership, which would bring him way more money. But he wanted to go with the easy take. Put 30 videos out there. If you guys only watch 15, so what? I'm still winning. But he really expected everybody who subscribed to him to watch every one of his videos, which is insane. Even now.
I love what I'm doing today, don't get me wrong. I love the creative control I have. I love the fact that I make my own schedule. I'm my own boss. No one tells me what to do, even though there seem to be several thousand people on the internet who think they can tell me what to do. Gee, look how well that's working out for you, right? But really, I love it. But the bottom line is what I do is incredibly risky. All this could go away tomorrow for any fucking reason. YouTube could just shut down gaming videos and Let's Plays and all that altogether, right? My healthcare is out of control. I pay almost over $400 a month on health insurance. I'm not kidding. That's how much it costs when you're self-employed. I didn't pay that much when I was with the desk job 9 to 5. Absolutely not. And you know, there's a lot to be.
Why are you paying $400 for? Why are you paying $400 for healthcare, Phil? And he says that he's paying something. Well, he says he's paying like $3 something now. But why is your insurance so goddamn high? Do you have a pre-existing condition? Like, why is it that your rates are so goddamn high that basically people are scared to cover you? Huh. That's I don't know. That's an interesting way of looking at it. Because my health insurance has never been that high. Ever. Ever. It's certainly never going to be that high if you're going through your corporation. But if you go independent and get your own insurance on your own, it shouldn't be that high. It should not be that high. That's almost double what somebody should be paying. Unless you have pre-existing conditions. Just something to think about.
Said about people who go in and they do jobs that they don't like. And a lot of people say, "Oh, those." He
almost makes it sound like because he's his small business owner, if you want to call him that, is that the government is just out and out punishing him. Oh, like you're going to pay double since you own your own business. No. I don't know. Let's continue.
People are uncreative. Those people are just complacent. Those people just do it because they don't want to do anything outside the box and they don't want to take a risk. I disagree. They do it because they know, at least even if they hate their fucking jobs, that they have steady income, they have affordable health care, they can take care of a family if they so choose, and it's not this crazy your head that what's going to happen tomorrow. That's what I go through every night when I sleep. Really?
That same thing he's told us now. He said that recently. He's been preaching that a little bit, but he's been saying that over the span of 2019. Yet again, that wasn't new. That wasn't something that he just thought of because of his situation with Catherine, and obviously Jasper has been in the picture that long. That's something old and recycled. You guys kind of see what I'll try to point it out as best I can, but a lot of you guys will see it on your own. That a lot of what he says now, he said back then. It's worded a little different. The circumstances are a little bit different, but the message is pretty much the same. Regurgitated and all.
There's never a time when I can just say, I'm good to go and I feel safe and there's no risk or anything. How many times over the years that I've done this stuff on YouTube and now Twitch?
How many times did you go on trips and vacations or whatnot? How much risk? You weren't worrying about the risk then, but now all of a sudden you've never felt secure. He said the same thing recently about him being on Twitch compared to him being on YouTube. He said the whole time he was on YouTube, he never felt safe, he never felt secure, which kind of falls into his narrative here. But on Twitch, though, he kind of feels balanced out. When in actuality, you could get bopped off just like anybody else. A lot of people who've been partnered have been getting suspended and or outright banned. You're actually less safe on Twitch than you are on YouTube. But see, he makes more money on Twitch than he does on YouTube.
That there's been problems. People threatening me with false copyright claims. People trying to get me kicked out of different programs. You know what I mean? And it never ends. It's a never-ending thing. So for people to say, oh, what they do is easy, I completely disagree. I think that what we do is unique and risky and ballsy, and it takes a certain kind of person to do it. And now we're going to go into my second half of this discussion, which is about the negativity and the hate that's permeating the internet when it comes to internet gamers and personalities and stuff. And of course, out of all the people that you think of when you think, wow, people really hate that guy, you got to think it's me, right? I'm the one that somehow over the past year to year and a half has managed to garner this collective movement of people who turned it into literally a fad to hate on DSP. So I personally know firsthand what this kind of stuff can do to you.
If it was a fad then, what do you call it now? Them guys were hitting you light back then, and for good reason. Like, to be honest, I mean, it was the circumstance, it was the time period, it was a different way of going about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to take a lot of that into account, that a lot of the reason why detractors treated him the way they did was because of the time period and the circumstances. If they had known he would have evolved into the piece of shit he eventually turned into, despite the fact that I believe all the signs were there, but human decency wins out. You want to think the best of people, no matter how bad they actually are. You know what I mean? That's kind of one of the things that, in a lot of ways, it's one of the reasons why Amber Lynn Reid made it as far as she did. I'm working on something about that too. But anyway, but if he really thought he had shit bad then, I wonder now if old Phil, if this Phil right here could talk to current Phil and hear about the situation, all the shit he ended up going through, would he actually have considered changing his ways? Would he have thought, you know what? I'm going to start being an asshole because I don't want this to happen to me 5, 6, 7 years down the line. 6 years. 6 years down the line. I definitely don't want that. Maybe I should change now while I still can. And that's the thing, if you think about it. 2014, he could have changed. He could have tried to turn it around. Didn't want to. Thought that he was the victim and everybody else is bad. Everybody else is wrong. It's not his fault. It's the world that is corrupt and that is cruel and that is unthinking and uncaring. Now look at him.
Imagine this. Imagine that you are one of these people who you're trying to make a living doing this. You're trying to make things happen. You, like me, you're trying to plan out your future. You want to move. You want to get a bigger place. You want to move in with your girlfriend. You want to eventually start a family. Maybe you want to start your own business. And you're trying to plan all this shit out, but you never know. When will you be able to? Will it be stable enough? Are you going to make less money this year than you did last year? Are you going to get a contract renegotiation that's going to screw you over, and now you have to completely change your life plans, which actually happened to me last year.
Which proves that the decline is his fault, not others. He's saying that contract renegotiation screwed him up. They were paying him. They were overpaying him anyway. He talks about that in the 6 years or 7 years, 1 to 2, the 6 years of with Machinima video. I haven't gone over that yet. I will. Where he talks about, he admits that Machinima admitted to him that they had overpaid him, and plus the examples I gave you early on in the video.
You know, it's a heavy burden. Now, I want you to imagine that not only you have all that on your mind all the time, all right, but now every day when you wake up, to go on Twitter, and the first thing you see on Twitter isn't, oh, that was fun, or this, that. You suck. You're the cancer. You're a piece of shit. You should never play again. I hate you. Oh, he's a joke. He's horrible at everything he does. He's this, he's that. And these are just examples that I'm speaking from my personal perspective. Other YouTubers.
So, which means that you weren't too far. That means those people weren't too far off the mark, especially given what you've evolved into. Second, in a lot of ways, you relied on Twitter as much then as you do now. So in actuality, you didn't watch any other people's videos. Well, you did. You definitely watched other people's videos. But really, you were just following people's timelines and seeing what they were saying. And you just kind of wrap that up into this video right now. So in a lot of ways, ladies and gentlemen, he's using other people's plight, other people's pain and suffering, so to speak, really more their inconveniences, to have content. That's essentially what he's doing here, if you think about it. And he's trying to focus it all on him, like he's the victim, but, oh, I can, but all these people are going through shit too, so, you know what I mean, it kind of all comes around in the grand scheme of things. I don't know, it seems scumbagish to me.
Like Total Biscuit, like Boogie, and a few others have come out recently and said, we get the nasty shit. I feel bad for Boogie, because that guy, you know, he's got weight problems, he's got health problems, but he's a funny dude. If he's a funny dude and he entertains you, that's good enough, right? No. You're disgusting, you're a filthy human being, you're just a nasty piece of shit. How could you let yourself get so fat and this and that and all this personal shit that has no place to do with the content that the guy puts out and should be none of.
Then years later, people saw him for his real personality and shit on him heavily for that. It's amazing how that worked out, huh?
Anyone's fucking business. And the bottom line is, okay, a lot of people say, oh...
How you gonna say it's not anybody's fucking business when you put your life online, or when you put your life out there online like that? You should expect some level of criticism. You should expect something. You should expect someone to feel a certain type of way about something. Hence the reason why there's a comment section, so people can express that. If you don't want your life to be judged, then don't put it online. And that's kind of what Boogie did. He put, I mean, even though a lot of that shit was parody, a lot of that shit was, a lot of it was just parody and kind of skits. A lot of it was him putting himself out there. That he's even admitted that was him kind of reenacting a lot of the frustration and stuff that he had gone through. You heard a lot of it right there. You saw a lot of it, I should say. I mean, it is what it is.
People are complaining that people are saying negative things about them. Well, they put themselves out there and therefore they just deserve it. Wrong. Fucking wrong.
I wouldn't say they deserve it, but like I said, you should expect at least some of that to come about. Not everybody is going to come in and just be positive about everything that you do. There's going to be a level of negativity to come with any of that shit and or trolling. And it's very hard to tell, I guess, depending on how good the troll is, on which one's which. But there's someone like you, Phil, especially. You didn't get treated the way you did for no reason. You're not innocent in that shit. You know what I'm saying? Did Boogie deserve all the shit he got back in the day? No. No, he didn't. Didn't react well to a lot of it either, but he definitely didn't deserve it. But when you see how Boogie is now, a couple of years later on, you could see how a lot of those guys are still on Twitter justifying it. Like, oh, we always knew this is how you were always going to be like this. We always knew that shit. Now, that's a jump. And that depends on you whether you agree with that or not. But his end result didn't exactly warrant a level of understanding that he was wanting back in the day. But yet again, when you put yourself out there, you expect there to be some type of blowback, whether positive or negative. You gotta pick your spots.
Just because I want to make entertaining content for you, and I'm the kind of person who's has a personal connection with my fans, now I deserve extra hate, and I should immediately be able to take massive amounts of hate and negativity. What kind of world is this? Seriously, you know? And it's kind of like...
What about the hate and negativity that you threw off at other content creators? You didn't seem very caring about their plight then, but people should give a shit about your plight now? What sense does that make? What sense does that make, Phil? How many people did you have an argument with on Twitter because they disagreed with you? Or they said something that you disagreed with? And then you attacked them too, calling them brain dead idiots, talking about they don't know what they're talking about, or they're just jealous of you because you make a living on YouTube and so on and so forth. You weren't very caring about their plight then, but people have to give a shit about you now because you're Dark Side Phil, and you were lucky enough to do this for a living. You were the lucky one. You were the exception to the rules, right? Fuck out of here.
These people, an actor, the poor actor, has the paparazzi on their fucking ass 24/7. And people, well, that's their fault for being an actor. What?
I wasn't expecting that. But yet again, this correlates back to him trying to associate himself and show correlations between him and actual actors. I wasn't expecting to see that here, but I'm kind of glad because it fits my point.
All they did, they trained to play a character in a movie or a TV show. Where did they say they signed up for this kind of negative shit? You know what I mean? I don't understand this whole TMZ celebrity mentality where if you just because you're well known for something or you're a public persona, you are open license to just destroy that fucking person and make their life miserable and take your own and throw it at their face. I don't get that. Maybe because I'm not that kind of fucking person, right? Maybe because I think that it's way more productive use of my time doing productive things and positive things and focusing on making great content than just sitting here and throwing my own feces at people. But there are people, this is what they do. They sit there on their computers, their miserable little selves. Oh, fuck Paris Hilton, fuck Kim Kardashian, fuck DSP, fuck, Ray William Johnson, fuck this guy, fuck that guy, fuck. And they never do anything productive with their time. That's their whole life. And it's incredible, the lengths that these people go to. And it seems, here's the other thing that I want to bring up that's a really valid point when it's someone who you are a public persona and you get feedback, okay? So now let's change gears a bit. Let's not say it's blatant hate. Let's say it's what people consider constructive criticism or feedback, right? So one day you watch one of my videos, and man, Phil really, I think it would have been better if he had done this, or you know what, if he did one tweak here, this improvement here, I think that would have been a lot better. And so you send a tweet to me, or you leave a comment on the video, or maybe you put a post on my forum, you say something in the stream chat during a stream, you hope that I see it, and I You go watch my content again. Oh man, he's doing the same thing again that I really don't like. I guess he really didn't listen to me. Man, this guy doesn't listen to constructive feedback, okay? You're out of your mind.
What do you mean they're out of their mind when you just said that they hit you from all these different mediums and you hope, or they hope, that you actually see it? And most of the time you haven't, and you've admitted that people have sent messages to you or emails or whatever, and you've read it and you've never responded back to them because you thought you knew better. And think about all the people that you blocked and you who you ended up blocking back in the day. And what you may have said to him might have not have been negative, but it may have been criticism, and he blocks it before anybody else can go ahead and basically piggyback off that and be like, you know what, I don't like that either. Hey, Phil, you should listen to this guy. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want a mob mentality on one little thing. So he gets rid of it before that happens. And there's definitely documented proof of that.
And again, I'm not speaking from my perspective. This is happening to everyone. They've come out publicly saying this. You're out of your mind if that's your mentality, okay? Because that's ridiculously unfair. Do you have any idea how many people contact me, interact with me on a daily basis? How many tweets I get? How many forum posts? How many PMs on YouTube? How many things in the stream chat? How many this? How many that? It's incredible. There's literally hundreds of thousands of you out there who watch my content and message me about it. There's only one of me. I don't have a crack team of 40 people here who are interacting with all my social media and all this, reading it. And Phil, we did today's analysis and the fans are saying that you should do this with your videos because it's, you know, that's the fan consensus. It doesn't exist. All right. What it is people who are getting completely demolished, hit by every direction. You suck, so change this. You're bad, so change this. You should change this. You should change this. And you can't respond to it.
This is pig whistling. That's what this is. This is pig whistling. This is literally him basically doing a call to arms within his own fan base that if anybody criticizes him for any little thing, immediately bash them and run them out. That's exactly what this is. And I knew he used to do that back then. And now I have it. But I knew he used to do stuff like this back then because it fits his personality. Sorry, it fits his personality almost picture perfect. Anything that isn't praising him is negativity, whether constructive criticism or not. And there are plenty of situations that proves this. But that's what this is right here. It's clear as day. Somewhat. It's a little muggy, but it is what it is. Eventually it'll clear up. How the hell did people follow him for as long as they did? It's like a war of attrition if you think about it. I don't know. I don't know.
You can't, because for every one person that says one thing, there's another person who wants another thing. And if you do this thing, well then this guy's upset because you didn't do what he specifically wanted. And it's just a cacophony of phalanx, an endless amount of voices all speaking, and they all come to you and you don't know what to do with it. And this is where people can get up. Oh, Phil doesn't listen to his fans. He doesn't listen to constructive criticism. He doesn't listen to anything. Listen, if there was a way for me to filter it, so I could tell if there was a big consensus of things that would be a great idea or a great change or whatever to my content, I would love that, but it doesn't exist. I'm a one-man show. And a lot of these YouTubers, they're getting this guy sucks.
What about John and Howard? And what about some of your other friends that have helped you with content? And then feedback, you read everything. I'm confident that he reads everything. And he just, and as I said, he ignores what he feels that could either be used against him or just anything that he doesn't like that is against his narrative. Especially if he was drinking as heavily as he was back then. Fuck out of here.
He does this podcast and he never does it right. He should really do what I think. Listen, that mentality is the most self-entitled mentality you can have on the internet. And that's the bottom line. That's where all this hatred and all this criticism and all this...
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the reason why you don't ever give Phil money to play a video game. This is why you don't give Phil to fucking dress up for his stupid Halloween fucking extravaganza bullshit. This is why you don't give Phil Burnell money to do anything. Because when you do that, under the pretense of him doing this, playing that, he hates that. He hates the fact that he is obligated to somebody else. He only wants money to exist. He only wants money because you love him and you love his content, and that's it. He doesn't want any additional strings attached. If so, there are going to be problems. And Phil has always been that way. Give me your money, take my bullshit fucking thank you, and move the fuck on. And and watch the ads on my videos. That's it. He don't sit there and tell me, here Phil, here's $100, play this game. He does not like that at all. He doesn't even like that with games that he actually wants, because he thinks he's such a smart businessman that, I understand you guys all want me to play this game now, but I'm not going to play it until 6 months down the line when I feel like I can profit off of it. And then by then the demand is gone, and then the viewership dries up, and he's like, well, you guys 6 months ago was telling me that you want me to play this game, and now where are you guys at? Idiot, there's a time and place for everything. Don't give him money to do anything. Just don't give him money. Let him earn that shit.
From people are sitting at home and they're watching this person who obviously there's something good with their content because they're popular, right? They obviously have an audience, so they did something right. And they say, I think that
I have an audience too, but that don't make me popular. What the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?
My personal opinion is that this is better, and I know better than everyone else, and so my opinion should be the one that's listened to. And this is what I mean. There's this generation of people, and it's changed since I started on YouTube, and now it's drastically different to people who use YouTube. There is an entire generation of the youthful people who actually think that they are the most important person on planet Earth, and that is the only one that's right and the only one that matters, and that everyone should immediately respond to every concern and criticism that they have, and if they don't, that person is wrong, and you know what I mean, because they know better than you. There's a whole
anti-self-awareness in this shit is fucking strong, ladies and gentlemen. Well over 9,000, and there's clown mode right there, so that might actually make a good thumbnail. But god damn, this shit is over the fucking moon. Jesus Christ, that would make a good thumbnail though. It really would. Yeah, it really would.
Generation, and I blame the parents. I blame parents who, when they were raising their children, spoiled the fuck out of them. Okay, made them feel like they were the most important person on the planet. Oh, you can be an astronaut. You can be the president. You can do whatever you want, son. And that's such unrealistic bullshit thinking.
Wait a second. You mean like your parents? And wait a second. Why would anybody tell their kids, "Oh yeah, you're never gonna be that," or "You're never gonna be able to do that"? Why would you do that? You're stifling an individual's chance of doing anything by doing that. The moment you tell someone they can't do something, you're in a lot of ways helping to construct the building blocks for them to do anything. What the fuck are you... Oh man, please don't have kids, Phil. Please don't have kids. Like, please don't have children. Please don't procreate at all. Like, just let the Burnell line just kind of fade. Just let it happen. You're certainly not the cream of... You certainly weren't the cream of the crop. That's for damn sure.
Turn these people not into idealists like the parents think. You turn them into egomaniacs. You've got millions of little egomaniacs out there who all think that what they want is the best. And far be it that someone who they watch doesn't listen to what they say. Or, fuck them then. Fuck them. They're an asshole. They're just making the content to make money. They don't listen to the feedback from the fans. The bottom line is you got people like me who hear so many voices. Our heads are rattled. We feel like we're shell-shocked. Right? Total Biscuit just came out and said, you guys don't know this, but I'm prematurely gray. I dye my hair. Because in the past few years I've been doing this full time, so much negativity, so much hate, everyone's second guessing me, everyone's saying I'm doing the wrong thing, that I've lost all the color in my fucking hair. Now, me, myself, am a unique position in all of this. The reason that I'm in a unique position is because, unlike a lot of those big guys, right, even though I was one of kind of the innovators of the Let's Play, by no means am I saying I was the first person to do it, but I was one of the first people to actually make money doing it, and people saw me as the archetype of, we can do that too. They saw me as a target because the bottom line is the way I do YouTube has always been different.
I don't know if that makes you an innovator, because an innovator is someone who takes someone who takes something that's pre-existing and makes it better. You didn't do that. You're someone who makes money off something that already pre-existed. That's not necessarily innovation. It's not like you laid down the groundwork for other people to make money too. When you did it, other people were starting to do it too. So wouldn't that make all of them innovators? And even then, I wouldn't call them innovators. Yet again, how are you an innovator when it's the right time, right place? It's not like you broke boundaries or whatnot to make that happen. Let me reword that. It's not like he went to YouTube and said, you know what, the gaming craze, if you will, that is growing on YouTube is something that can be profitable for both of us. Myself as the content creator and you as the platform, we should consider doing business. You didn't do that. So that doesn't make you an innovator. If you think you're an innovator because you got paid first, you're fucking retarded. That's absolutely ridiculous. To even think that. To think that at all. Especially saying you weren't even the first person to actually do it. You weren't even the first person to get paid off gaming content. So what the fuck are you talking about?
Than everyone else. I upload a ton of videos, and because of that, people don't subscribe to my channel. They always watched the content, but they didn't subscribe. So while everyone else was putting out 1 or 2 videos a day and slowly growing their viewer base, you know, and they're, now they have 100,000, now they have 500,000, now they have 1 million subscribers. Phil always stayed within the 100,000 range because Phil did the way he wanted to do it, right? I always the way that I want to do it. That's just my personality. That's the way I am. Now, I've changed over the years and I've evolved, but ultimately, I
changed over the years. I evolved. He says that bullshit now. If that was the case, why didn't he actually get to 200,000, 500,000, 1 million? He criticized those people, right, for what they're doing. He admits here that I did things the way I wanted to do it, but then he cries on stream to this very day about why he didn't get the chances that other people did, why he couldn't grow like other people did. And he said that he did change his content, he did what you guys asked for, and it didn't help him. It actually may have screwed him over. But he talking back in 2014, saying that exact same dribble that he said this year, he said last year, and he said 2017. He hasn't proven shit. He really hasn't.
Playing through a lot of games and uploading a lot of videos on a daily basis, and that's how I've been successful, and that's how I continue to be successful, okay? But for me, the amount of hate that I've received is just overwhelming. And I always received hate in my whole life, let's face it. Everything I've
Here, let me say this, and I mean this, because this applies to Amber too, but when I get to that project, you'll see what I mean. If the negativity, if people like him didn't thrive off negativity, he wouldn't have smirked the way he did. There's a difference with people who are really worn down because of negativity and those who thrive off that shit. Those people who, whether positive or negative, they will take all attention that's thrown their way because they think that makes them relevant. He is no different. Not at all.
I was a competitive Street Fighter. Phil's overrated. He's an asshole. He's not good at Street Fighter. When I went into the professional world, Phil, don't trust him. He's not very good at what he does. Blah blah blah. And then I go into YouTube.
Wait. The FGC was right. You weren't that good. You really weren't. Sorry, you really weren't. You were just never that good. You have a couple strings with a couple of different people, with a couple of different characters, and that's pretty much it. You play this old school, ancient fucking style of play and shit that did not age like fine fucking wine. And that's it. And when you get put into a really bad situation, the best way to beat Phil is pressure him. Pressure him. And he'll crumble. But that's neither here nor there. You can watch a bunch of Evil AJ videos on that shit and you'll see exactly what I mean. Or put him in a situation where he has options that he's not used to using. That'll fuck him over too. It is what it is. But as it pertains to you silly son of a bitch, I'm gonna wait.
YouTube, Phil, fuck him. He's a cult leader, and he's trying to manipulate his fans for money. He's trying to do this or that, and all this stuff that's always been. But it really wasn't until
gotcha. That's what I was waiting for. When we talk about the cult leader mentality, and more importantly, when we talk about him in the business world, as he said, as a professional, oh, don't trust Phil, he's not going to get this done, he can't be trusted with it, so on and so forth. That right there tells me a lot of the reason why he ended up getting fired. A lot of the reason why, well, at least in a small part, why that company went down. One of the reasons why he never went back into the corporate world or tried to actually look for a job afterwards. Because he was a fuck up who got drunk every goddamn night, stayed up till the middle of the night playing video games, and his dad had to keep pulling strings for his ass, until his father couldn't do it no more. And right around the time, like I said, Phil figured out that, oh, finally I can make money off YouTube, off the gaming shit. Fuck it, I'm just gonna go to that. Screw it then. I'll take my severance package, I'll cash in my retirement, and boom, I'll get started with this. And then since you guys are my mom, and since you're my mom and dad, you guys should feel bad for me, especially you, Dad, because you didn't protect me enough, and so on and so forth. So you guys need to help me with my bills every month, because they fucked me over, and they did it. So it's funny how this self-entitled cunt who talks all that bullshit about all these other supposed self-entitled pieces of shit is in actuality just as bad. And yet again, he's talking about himself in a very direct sort of way. A very direct sort of way. And then this cult leader shit. This is the real coup de grace that I was actually waiting for. It's true. It's true that he manipulated his fan base. He cultivated and manipulated his fan base from the beginning to give him money, to continue to support him through his good year, from the beginning, throughout his good years, and then in the decline that came later on. They always were giving him money. They were always supporting him. And he had to continue to put that narrative out there, because if not, if he lost their support, he loses the power and control that he had over them. And more importantly, he loses the money, which he didn't want to give up. And who knows who was Vidal before Vidal? Like, who was the actual Brightside Viking of the DSP community before Brightside Viking actually showed up? Someone was giving a couple $100 away each month to him, or maybe even each week. Who was it? How many people were there? How long were they doing it for? Especially on Twitch. Brightside was definitely throwing cash at him. That was more in, I think, Phil's second run though, but I'm sure Brightside Viking was around for the first run. At least the tail end of it. So when you go to the DSP Cult Leader channel, I'm gonna go over some of that content because there's some gems over there. He wasn't wrong, and it's a good thing the channel's there, and it's nice to see that his channel's getting a lot more appreciation now, because he knew what the fuck he was talking about. He may have not had a lot of support back then while he was saying it, but the support and a lot of that appreciation came later. And that's, yet again, what I was talking about, where being a detractor is a thankless job. He's running around here saying that they're making a living off his back and off his coattails and shit like that. Dude, you're going to probably catch shit from the very people that you're supposed to be on the same side of, as you will as the people who oppose you. And then you still have the people who don't necessarily understand the mythos behind DSP, who are going to shit on you too. And you got to contend with all of that. But you keep it pushing, especially if you believe in what you're doing. It is what it is. What you did back then, nothing may have came out of it. You know what I'm saying? No one may have taken it seriously, whatever the case may be. But a couple years later, someone's going to catch this and be like, you know what? He makes an excellent fucking point. They go over to click over on DSP's channel, because obviously he's going to be stuck online for the rest of his goddamn life. And they're like, huh, those guys 4 or 5 years ago really knew what the fuck they were talking about. Holy shit. And the word just gets spread. He thinks everything's about a financial, a financial situation or motivation behind it. Ladies and gentlemen, he doesn't understand what principles are. And just the general idea of having an opinion and being able to speak on that. Since when has that been a bad thing? It's okay when he can do it, but it's okay if anybody does it to him.
A year and a half, when people started taking my content, which, by the way, again, I'll say it again, it is illegal, regardless of the fact that these people think they're making a parody of it. You can't just rip the raw footage. You would have to ask me permission to do it. And by the way, I also own my trademark, so regardless of any fair use law or copyright law that these people cite in their video montages of me failing.
Hey man, if you want my permission, go ahead and go to your wife. My permission slip, I'm pretty sure I left it on your dresser. You can ask her for it. If you want my permission slip, you can go there for that. It's signed on the bottom, GTG, and there's a nice little Paul signature there. I felt generous to do that.
I own the trademark to my own persona, so anytime you hear my voice,
and if you need a copy, no problem. I'm sure I'm going to see Catherine sometime later in the week anyway. I will try to make sure she grabs it before she leaves. But that poor girl is so exhausted when she leaves here. I mean, I put her through the ringer sometimes. And that, she still has to go to the gym and deal with Jim, and she has it rough.
Trademarked, and they can't use it in a video. Trademark law is completely different from copyright law, and right now, anyone who's ever used a clip of mine, I could have that taken off the internet if I felt like it. I've had enough. It's one thing, again, I said, you know what, you want to make a this is how you don't play video about me, you want to make a 2-hour montage of my content, you want to make a video that has me, my likeness in it, making fun of me, and it's a parody, that's one thing entirely. You know, at least, even though you're defaming my name, okay, at least you put some creativity into it, at least you may have some kind of a snippet of truth or some kind of comedy in it. It's a creative work.
Wait, snippet of truth? So a snippet of truth back then was all right, but now it's complete and total slander. I told you, it all comes back around. Okay? Define sniff. It all comes back around. He is a person who falls into a cycle. Quite literally. Most lol cows do. And he follows that cycle almost religiously. Almost.
Stop you from making creative works that criticize me. But I just don't. Because I think that, alright, fine, you want to use my content and make fun of me and be malicious and be dicks and make me the butt of a joke, fine. But what the fuck did I ever do, seriously, to have a movement of people who really don't know me, all they've ever heard of me is seen the this is how you don't play montages? And that's who they think I am. And it's people right.
Wait, what about all the people who used to be fans of yours, or who watched your videos and who watched all your vlogs and everything, and you basically throwing all of your information out there so it can be monetized? Who's to say that those people don't know you? What the fuck are you talking about? Alright.
Now, watching my Dark Souls 2 playthrough, there's fans of other YouTubers who I converse with on Twitter, such as SSOHPKC, who've started watching my content, and they go, this is nothing like what any of these people have been saying in their in fact, this is night and day. You know? Okay, here's the deal, everyone. I've made, what, 28,000 videos over the past several years? That's a lot of content. I'm sure during some of those games, I wasn't doing very well, because no one can be good at everything they do. That's the bottom line. You cannot be good at every possible thing you attempt. And so when I'm playing every genre of game, racing, fighting, shooter, third-person shooter, first-person shooter, puzzle, stealth, action-adventure, platformer, and every kind of game that I play, there's going to be ones I'm not good at. So for anyone to turn into, oh, he's a horrible gamer, and then they make montages of the games I'm not good at. That's the thing. Where are the montages of, by the way, here's the playthrough that Phil did real well at. Where's the montage of Dark Souls 2? My God, Phil does it right. This is how you do play Dark Souls 2. Where's that?
Why would you bring Dark Souls 2 up when you, as it says, like BOS1 just said, you sat there and grinded your fucking character and over-leveled him. Which is what eventually brought Tevin into the situation. When he made his first video talking about that. Or one of his first videos, I should say. Talking about that situation. Why would you... That's what happens when you have so much content out there that even you don't know what's out there or not. And he's talking about these people don't know him, and there's so much content out there that he can't even keep track of it. He has said so much brainless, mindless shit that's in a video guaranteed somewhere, if not everywhere, and whatnot, that he can't even keep track of his bullshit anymore. Or back then, let alone now. But yet, he can tell you about supposedly some bullshit that Tevin was into 2 or 3 years ago. He remembers that shit like it happened yesterday, allegedly.
And that's the thing, because the internet is all a bunch of little ninny motherfucking giggly girl teens, really, who all they want to do is act like this is TMZ, and let's find that moment of flaw. Let's find that one moment of weakness where that person did badly, and maybe, you know, for me, my joke, it's been a running joke since I started making videos in 2008, and if you watch Hate Live, you know it was a running joke when I was in the Street Fighter community too, is that I blame stuff. Oh, I lost a match of Street Fighter, that joystick...
That's not a joke, though. That's not a joke at all, because the Street Fighter community already came out against you and said, no, that's really how he is. So that wasn't a joke, that wasn't a gimmick, that wasn't something to kind of add some excitement to it. That's who you really are. And as time has gone on, it only proved it. It only solidified it. It's etched in stone. You're such an idiot. I don't know what. To be honest, he didn't even. I don't even know why he kept trying to push that narrative, because he didn't even believe it. He really didn't. He still don't. He doesn't even believe his own lie. And why would he? It's poorly constructed. It's poorly put together.
It doesn't fucking work. Fuck this shit. That's bullshit. I should have won that match. I was blocking. Oh, what the fuck? I'm playing the game and a boss is hard. Fuck that game developer. How dare they make the boss too hard? And that's the running joke. And the people don't get the joke because they're fucking stupid. They're too stupid to get a running joke that I've used my whole life. When it comes to stuff that I'm doing, I'm never going to try to hide stuff from my viewer. That's why I try to say I'm one of the realest people on YouTube, because I'm not a fibber, I'm not a liar, I'm not hiding half the truth. I will tell you the full story. You ask me a question, I'll be honest with you. Well, I'm going to be honest with everyone, because you know I'm an honest person. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't sure you were supposed to go to the core or not right away, so I just checked, and you're not. And there was no way for you to know that unless you cheated, which I had to do. My whole fucking life I've done it, and they can't...
Yo! He literally tried to retcon his own shit. Just like how he does now. Holy... You know, it's funny, because, to be honest, a wiser individual, a wiser person, would literally just shut the fuck up and try. Whatever game they're playing, just try to the best of their ability to be entertaining and to just get through the game. Phil would rather make excuses, would rather lie and cheat, and he still fails. How do you cheat at a game and still fail? That's like cheating on your college exams and still failing all of them. That's insane. Like, that just doesn't happen. Or, well, it does. I mean, it can happen, I guess. I wouldn't say it doesn't happen, but it can happen. I don't know. I mean, you would think if you're going to cheat off somebody, you would assume that they know who the person that you're cheating off of knows exactly what the fuck they're supposed to be doing and whatnot. So this way, you know that they're a reputable source. You would think, but holy shit, special type of idiot. He really is. He's a special type of fucking idiot.
Get it? Because they're mental fucking midgets. Alright? And it's ridiculous, you know? You can take the negative of anything anyone does. Some famous actress tripped on the red carpet. Do we have to make fun of her? She's a fucking human, man. You know? Oh my god, there was a moment of weakness that one person had. Big fucking deal. What about the 5 billion moments of greatness? Right? What about all the entertainment that person has brought? What about the smiles they've brought to people's faces? What about the hundreds of hours of content that you've probably personally watched with that person that's put a smile on your face? You forgot it all because they fucked up once and you want to be a dick and laugh at them? What kind of people would do that?
I mean, maybe the same person who took those same kids that he put smiles on their faces and waited until they grew up and then took their disability checks. I would assume that same type of individual probably would have done that. You know, as you get ready to take that sip. How do you feel about that, Phil? That you have this demographic of children that are disabled, whether mentally or physically, and you poach them for money too. You're poaching somebody's disability checks. You're poaching, in Planet Jeff's case, you're poaching his dead wife's insurance money. You're taking you get a piece of Super Blind Man's insurance, his disability check. Probably Alex Seidel's too. Who knows who else? Rob Warren, I think, is another one. How do you feel about that? You feel any sympathy and or empathy for those situations? For those individuals? You're talking about me. That's all I'm hearing here. But what about the people that are affected by it? Ever thought about that shit? Even at the slightest? Of course not.
So just imagine, you know, that's me. I'm sure these other YouTubers have their own personal, like I said, poor Boogie must get so much negativity about his appearance and all this shit that has nothing whatsoever with his content. It's just a joke. And so I'll end this segment with this. It's always been my philosophy in life that we all make out together. That's better than one person just making it, all right? And I think that's really the problem with a lot of what people...
Oh, if that was the case, then why did you go at Toby Turner's head so bad? Why did you go at Toby Turner's head so hard then, if that was the case? Also, I see you're always hiding that necklace that Panda gave you, which kind of signifies that she's in the picture. Why do you do that? Like, you're not proud of it? What does that mean? Is that a way for you to keep, like, the female fan base that you had at that time? Like, keep them interested? What was that chick's name? Was it Gamer Nicole or whatever? I think that's the one from Australia. Is that, did you still have her on the hook somewhere? Like, what's going on with that? I really hope I come across the video where we find out exactly how old Panda was. Because I know you were talking to Panda before she was 18. I'm pretty confident that that's what you were doing. I'm pretty fucking confident. You may not have dated her until she was 18, and that's fine. But I'm pretty goddamn confident you were talking to her before she was 18.
Their mentalities in this world right now is that it's all about them. Me, me, me. As long as I'm good, as long as my family's good, as long as I'm making this is all I care about, right? There's far too few people in the world today who realize that it's not about this for you. It's about everyone around you succeeding and doing well. That's how life works. That's how...
If that's the case, then why didn't you pay... why did John have to come to you and say, hey, do you think I should get a cut of the proceeds? Why is it that Howard never got a cut of any of the playthroughs or any of the projects that he was participating in? Why didn't OJ get a piece? Why is it that you didn't give Respect the Pack anything for the Project 7 joint? It's funny how everybody's supposed to make out together and it's not supposed to be about me, 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 but yet you ain't fucked over all the people that were around you for your own personal gain and profit. I don't know. Semantics, I'm sure.
Societies persevere. Because let's face it, if everyone was all about just me, 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 you kill everyone else. You would kill everyone else, because guess what? If you kill everyone else, the whole world's resources are yours, and you know what I mean? There's no risk of you getting attacked by anyone, because they're all dead. So the whole me, 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 only me mentality doesn't work. And that's the problem, is that the world
do realize that you must be a special type of idiot for that, because if you don't have the skills needed to live off the land, then you would need people around you to in turn have an infrastructure, to in turn to have shit working. So killing everybody off just so you can have all the resources don't make a lot of sense when you can't refine or you can't use and or process those resources. You do realize that, right? Like, you do realize how stupid that sounds? That's why if a zombie, like, if that's why, for example, if just not even a zombie type of situation broke out, just any type of global pandemic happened, more often than not, we're going to be fucked. We're going to be royally fucked. You know what I mean? Less than, I think they said, statistically speaking, like, maybe 15% of the population might make it. Maybe. And that depends on, obviously, how fast it spreads, how lethal it is, so on and so forth, so on, you know, yada, yada, yada. There's all kinds of things that go into it. Panic will set in and cause the majority of us to get killed before anything else. You trust me, if the next Black Plague showed up, Phil's gonna be one of the first people to go. I guarantee it. Especially with his weak health, and I would assume lacking immune system, he's definitely gonna be royally fucked. I don't wish that upon him, but it seems like the logical outcome.
Everyone's so focused on themselves, they don't see the big picture anymore, right? You using AdBlock because me, me, me. I hate looking at ads. Ads are annoying, and they're, you know, but in the big picture of things, if you use AdBlock on people who make their living on ads, they're going to go away, and guess what? Now there's no more content to watch. So who did you hurt? You hurt yourself, because you killed the person who entertains you.
You do realize that there are other people too, right, Phil? And which goes back into your cult mentality that, oh, you guys have to keep coming back to me because I'm the only one that's real with you guys. I'm the only one that's going to be truthful to you guys, and I'm the only person that's going to tell it to you straight because I'm not scared to. That's the cult mentality that people have been accusing you of. Because you have to be brain dead stupid to think that there are not other people out there that make good content, big or small, that couldn't entertain you. You don't have to constantly keep coming back to the source. Fucking idiot.
Right? These are the big picture things that you have to think about in life. It's either one person can succeed or everyone can succeed. I'm a feeling, and no, I'm not a communist. A lot of people say, oh, he's a commie now. He wants free healthcare for everyone and blah, blah, blah. No, but I just like the fact to know that my neighbor, whether I'm friendly with them or not, is safe and, you know, is not in some horrible condition. And I wouldn't...
You couldn't even be sincere about that. You shouldn't have even brought that up. He couldn't have even been severe about that. Sincere, I should say. I apologize. He couldn't even be sincere about that. He really couldn't. Because when you have to grasp for words like that, nah, you wasting your own time, buddy. Stop that bullshit.
By no means would I ever take it upon myself to be so nasty and negative to someone like that. I want everyone to succeed. Since I started on YouTube, so many people have asked me for advice and things. I try to coach them. I try to help them to succeed with what they're doing. And, you know, it puts such a smile on my face.
And it didn't work out, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because why would you go to a complete and total idiot for advice? You got someone who was a complete and total fucking failure at everything he ever touched. And you want to go to him for advice because he sounds like he knows what the fuck he's talking about? What he sounds like is one thing. How is he doing? See what I'm saying? That's why videos like this exist, right, Phil?
When I get a cool message from a fan that says, Phil, thanks so much for the content you put out, because really you made me feel so good today and you really helped me. Despite the fact that you're playing a video game and it's funny, you know, that positivity, that laugh really helped me today, and that's why I continuously do it despite all the hate, and that's why I still do it.
Especially when people were shitting on him back then about that laugh, just like they shit on him now, because the laugh is fucking horrendous. Jesus Christ. God damn, it's just horrible. Seriously.
I don't do it just to play games and make money. I do it because I love doing it, and I love helping other people, and I love sharing my funny and fun experiences with other people. And if people would just realize that, instead of being this real negative, again, TMZ, little schoolgirl, gossipy, bullshit, maybe you would realize that if when you become a mature adult, you don't do that shit anymore, right? And that's the problem, is that there's this whole mentality of people, their mental maturity level is of a toddler, and they never grew up. They never realized big picture, there are things more important than making fun of people and me, I'm the most important person, and my opinion is the most... No, they never changed, they never evolved. They lack the ability to put themselves in the shoes of someone else. No, the people who make fun of me, the people who make fun of Boogie, the people who give Total Biscuit a hard time, never put themselves in the shoes of the person to think, how would that person feel if when they woke up, the first thing they saw on Twitter was, you're a horrible person, go die in a fire, you're cancer, suck a fat, you know, turd, or whatever the fuck these people say. How do you think we feel?
Didn't you tell someone that was interviewing you once that you wanted them to have their house burned down or die in a fire or some silly shit like that? Because... yeah, I think you were the one who said you wanted someone to go and die in a fire or some shit, because Wings was the one who said that he hoped some guy's family died in an automobile wreck. So that was you. That's the first thing. Secondly, and most importantly, who the fuck have you empathized with at all? No one, ever. 3, let's talk about about evolving. Where is your evolution at? And I don't mean evolution in 2005 when you couldn't get shit done because you're a fucking loser, basically. You know what I'm saying? And then have the nerve to sit there and take your 4th place finish and try to parade that shit like it meant anything to anybody. Like, you were somehow Billy Mitchell before we all found out he was a cheater, and you were standing up for fucking America against the Japanese. And even though you took 4th, not 3rd, not 2nd, you took 4th, that, Jesus Christ, Phil Burnell went out there and he fought the good fucking fight for us. And took 4th. 4th! And had the nerve to sit there and turn around and say, I'm the #1 ranked American Super Turbo player of that year. In a shitty port that didn't mean shit to anybody. And the Japanese came over and got paid. Easy. They were like, oh, Phil Burnell's the best you have? Pfft, all right. No problem. Roasted pork for everybody. And they just passed you around. They passed you around. But you want to sit there and talk about empathizing with people and seeing things through their lens? Or walking a mile in their shoes? This is Mr. Keeping It Real. I'm going to say it how it is, and if you don't like it, fuck you. I'm being honest. But yet, you want everybody to curve their opinions for you? So they can empathize with you? Because you're having a shitty day? If you can't handle what's being said to you on Twitter or online in general, stay the fuck off the internet. Period. Take a couple of days away from the shit. But little sensitive bitches like you block everybody anyway, so what do you care? This is dumb. This is really, really dumb. And the fact that people were able to soak this shit up and thought that Phil Burnell really meant anything to anybody is fucking silly. He never changed. The Phil Burnell you see now is just as pathetic, is just as weak, and is just as lazy and impotent as he was now. Nothing's changed. He's no different. He's just stinking up a whole nother love seat in a whole nother area where he doesn't go around and actually see Seattle for what it is unless he wants something to eat. He doesn't take in the culture. He doesn't do not a goddamn thing. He sits in his fucking house all day dying. Dying. Because he's so goddamn scared of what's outside. He is so paranoid that he doesn't trust who's who anymore. He doesn't care if they're fans or detractors or both. He just wants to stay in his safe space and that's it. And he only leaves his house when he leaves with Catherine. I know that. I know that's the only time he leaves his house. Because he doesn't feel safe otherwise. That's why when Panda left his ass, he would only go out at night. When people wouldn't be able to easily notice him. He did all of that stuff for a reason. Because that's how cowards conduct themselves. But he has the nerve to sit there and tell you guys, well, tell them, and dictate to them how they should act and how they should treat people online when he's treated people way worse. Fuck off.
And it's just ridiculous that there are people that this is it. Wow, we feel good because they feel bad. And that's such a ridiculously immature mindset to have. Only self-entitled little fucking brats use it. And the problem is, there's a lot of them out there. Their parents never slapped the shit out of them when they were a little kid. And then when they said, Mommy, I want this.
Slapped the shit out of them when they were a little kid. Does that remind you guys of anything? Anything at all? Remember that VR chat game on Twitch? The girl said, can you please go into the waiting room? Where's the waiting room? I was right behind you, idiot. I'm like, you don't have to call me an idiot. I didn't know. Why didn't you just take a look around? Now click on it right there. Okay. Stupid little bitch. I had spanked the fuck out of her. She was right in front of me. You guys remember that? I told you it all comes around.
Toy, Mommy, I want this. Mommy bought it for them instead of saying, shut the fuck up and be a mature adult. And they never learned. Oh,
really? Like that Wolverine action figure you wanted so bad that you bitched to your parents about? Guys, we haven't seen this thing anywhere. Okay, this is the only place that we've seen it at. Not that we looked anywhere else, but this is the only place that we've actually seen it. Buy it for me now and put it away for me until my birthday. And this way, we have it. And then if it sells out, we don't have to worry about it because we have it. So I think they said allegedly Phil was at 15 at that point. Actually, I'm pretty confident that he was because I've already done a video on it. I got to do the follow-up now that I think about it. But at 15, you sat there and bitched at your parents. Let's say between 12 and 15. You bitched at your parents about that. So then, in all right, according to your logic, your mom should have backhanded the fuck out of you then. She should have hit you with the slick back pimp slap then, yeah? Phil, really? Oh, this is the only place we should see it. We should buy it for you now. Give me a second, Phil. Let me check my Palm Pilot. Smack! That's what she should have done by your logic. Right? Just saying. You're okay with other kids getting the shit smacked out of them, but not you though, right? Because you're an exceptional individual. You're special, right? Wow.
To be a mature adult, and that's who these people are. So, in closing, I leave you with this. Be considerate of the people who you follow. Be considerate of the people who you appreciate. Don't just focus on the negative, focus on the positive. The problem is there's too many people who want to focus on the negative, and those are the verbose people. Those are the people you hear, right? You don't hear, wow, did you see DSP in that awesome boss fight today? How he really bested that boss. It was so epic, it was down to the wire, and everyone was on the edge of their seat. And then, you run and you tell your friends about how epic that boss. That video goes on YouTube, everyone will watch it. No, all you hear about is the one.
It sounds like something a child would do. How many adults do you really expect to them jump from their office to the next office over and be like, hey guys, you guys watching Darkside Phil? He just had this epic boss fight. This shit was great. Who's Darkside Phil? He's a Darkside Phil. Philly D. He has a Twitch. And he has a YouTube. The King of Hate? Who the fuck names themselves the King of Hate? How old is Phil? He's 37? And he calls himself Darkside Phil, and he also calls himself the King of Hate. What does he do? He plays video games. Yeah, you can go ahead and close my office door now. Like, it's obvious that this is pandering to children. Mr. I'm not a children's entertainer. And I've never made content for children. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Boss fight in Dark Souls 2 where I lost my cool and I started raging at the game. And people tweet to their friends, oh, DSP flipped out. Here's the video. DSP sucks at this game. Here's the video. And that's what goes viral. And that's the problem. We need to do viral positivity.
Didn't he also say early on about how it's his gimmick to rage and shit and all of this, that, and the third at games and so on and so forth? But didn't he say prior to that, oh, I have weak moments and everybody's waiting to clip that moment and get it and spread it around? So which one is it, Phil? Did you have a weak moment, or is it part of the gimmick and we're all just too stupid to see the joke? You thought I was going to let that slide, didn't you? Nah, I didn't. I waited patiently. Just like you waited for Pro Jarrett. I waited patiently. The Gouty Viper.
Not viral negativity. We need to flip this on its head. If when people do something awesome, everyone talked about it, my God, why is it that when I review games, if I review a really good game high, everyone, it gets okay views. If I take a game like Titanfall and I rip it a new asshole, the views are out of control. Why is the negative the thing everyone watches? I don't get it.
You don't get it, yet you have a podcast show right now that's called Hate Live. You call yourself the King of Hate, and he's acknowledging that negative content, that hateful content. Oh, you used to have a show called the Hateful Reviews. Didn't want to forget that one. But you have someone here, when he puts out negative content, that shit gets views. And he needs the views because he's talking about he needs people to click ads, which is funny because he also has said, and I'm bringing it up for like the third or fourth time now, that his contract at current is view based. This is bull. This is double speech all day. This is bullshit all fucking day. He is saying one thing while saying something else. This is silly. This is real silly. Huh. Good shit to be awesome one for this, but that's exactly what this is. He's sitting here trying to push two different narratives so he can get his way because he's greedy. It's greed. Literally, it's greed right here. He wants people to watch the videos and definitely click ads. At the same time, he's also in a very, it's not even slick and it's certainly not subtle, but I guess if you're 10 years old, it might be, to be like, hey, spread around the good moments that you see in my videos so other people can come watch my videos too, and make sure they have AdBlock taken off. And also, anybody that's in my comment section that's hating on me, yeah, dogpile on them and get that out of there. Or tell them that they need to be more positive, they need to get the fuck out. That's pretty much what this whole video is basically summed up as. And he's using he's using Boogie and Angry Joe and the rest of those guys as nothing more than props. Just like how he used to use John and Howard and OJ. They're nothing more than props. Wow.
I don't fucking get it. And we need to change. As an internet community, as a gaming community, we need to fucking change. You can't be like that, because you will destroy it. You will destroy everything. I won't be around. Boogie won't be around. No one will be around. We'll be done. Well, fuck this. One day you're going to cut your losses, and thank God that I was born with thick skin, and my whole life I was bullied, I was treated badly in the Street Fighter community, in my high school, in my grammar school, my whole fucking life I had it. So I've got the thickest fucking skin of anyone I know when it comes to that stuff. If
that's the case, then why do you always have to throw an insult behind everything you say about a direct person or a group of people that go against your narrative or go against your particular thought process? How does that work if you got thick fucking skin? Matter of fact, apparently because you got all that locker treatment and you couldn't fight back, which is what I'm assuming, but I'm pretty confident that I'm right. It shows that's the reason why you're so ill-tempered the way you are. Because everybody takes an ass whipping. And everybody doles that ass whipping out. And it toughens people up. If you were really, really thick-skinned, you would let comments fly. Even to this day. you wouldn't worry about what people say about you on Twitter. Let that shit go. If it don't mean, that shit don't mean nothing to me. There's a bunch of people online who don't know me. You know what I'm saying? If they have an opinion about my shit, let them have their opinion. That shit don't hurt me. That shit don't hurt my day. You keep it moving. But see, I thought you have all this thick skin, but yet this is someone, ladies and gentlemen, who has admitted multiple times of policing his comment section on the regular. He's admitted to spending hours back in those days of policing his comment section. This is the same thick-skinned motherfucker, ladies and gentlemen, who is sitting there and has a meme, the lean in manual ban, that he uses on a regular basis. He gets more enjoyment banning people than playing video games now. I honestly think he gets off on it because it's a show of its power. In the smallest, most pathetic way of it, it's power. But he's so goddamn thick-skinned, ladies and gentlemen, because he got bullied so much. And people used to shit on him, this, that, and the third. Which is funny because now it makes me think that's the reason why you bully other people too. That's why you bully your fans. That's why you try to bully other influencers and or content creators. The thing is when those people come back on you, you look at it as them punching down on you. When in actuality, if you didn't provoke nothing, there wouldn't have been no problems. Start no shit, there won't be no shit. You think that it's almost like I'm small enough to where they shouldn't do it because it'll look like it's punching down, so I'll have all the advantages, so at least amongst my little cult, I'll win. When in actuality, if they ever did attack me, it would make them look bad. That sounds like some coward shit. Which is exactly what people call you. Imagine that.
Who knows what would have happened with all the kind of shit that I get on a daily basis now. I don't know what someone like Boogie, I feel so bad for the guy. You know what he must put up with? I mean, he must talk to a psychiatrist or something. He has to. And it's vile.
Are you saying he's mentally ill? Is that where we're leading with this, Phil? But don't you use mentally ill as an insult against other people? How they're not right in the head and the white coats need to come get them and this, that, and the third? And they need to go and see psychiatrists and therapists and shit like that to get their shit together? Because they're not stable people? But now we're supposed to feel bad for Boogie because of those same circumstances. Huh. Okay.
It's vile, these fucking people. Seriously.
Wow, that's uh-oh, hold up. Hold up a second. Wait a second. Let me see here. I can fix this. I can do this. Oh shit. God damn, it'd be awesome one. I know you said you were gonna have it at the end of the fucking thing, but god dog, dude. I need more heads up than that, sir. Shit. Alright. I'm just kidding. You should be good now.
Whew.
Oh, never mind. That's just something else entirely. Well, that's hurtful. Bloop. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're actually done with that then. All right, sorry about that. That was sloppy on my end. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. My apologies. This was actually rather fruitful. I didn't know it was going to actually be this good, but I'm kind of glad that it was. So, where do we take from this, ladies and gentlemen? First off, let's see here. Hold up. Bam. All right, so first off, thank you so much to the individual in question who requested this. Thank you very much to Be Awesome One for making the video. And if I had to sum this up in any way, shape, or form, this whole video proves my point about Phil works in cycles. Everything you've seen, everything you've heard, all these bullshit complaints and everything are nothing new. It's something that he's just regurgitated at one time or another. You're seeing a lot of the mentality, a lot of hatred, the resentment. You're seeing all that here. Clear as crystal. In a way that I wouldn't have actually expected from this particular video. Not for any particular reason. Excuse me, for this particular reason. I just thought he'd be salty about the whole AdBlock thing. But yet again, I'm having this hard time accepting that, because he tells us that he's on a view-based contract. So why the fuck does he care about ads? If all of his channels, which are currently under the Machinima umbrella, are all view-based. On top of that, I wonder how he was trying to how he was playing the system on that view-based, that whole view-based thing. I'm wondering how he was actually getting people to click ads or to definitely watch all those videos on autoplay or whatever the case may be, which are things that he has brought up in this. This was absolutely fruitful. I am very glad that this video popped up. So thank you very, very much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. If you made it this far, I very much appreciate it. And we'll keep on trucking, because I want to make sure I need to get a lot of time back into this channel. I don't know how the next couple months are going to end up being. I don't know how October is going to be anyway, but November and December should be pretty good and whatnot. There's some things that are going to come up. I don't think I've ever done the John and Howard video over here. I've done it on the main channel for sure. I might do it over here though, because every time you watch it, something new comes up. And I hear that Tevin might actually go over it, which is one of the few videos that Tevin said he was never interested in going over, but he might go over it now, which I'd love to get his take on that. So that should be cool. Also, by the way, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out here now. As you know, on the main channel, we call it Galtopia. Over here, it's going to be Snortopia. Snortopia. I thought about calling it Snouttopia for a while, but I like Snortopia better. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'll put a poll up or some shit. But anyway, so that's what that situation is. So with that being said, I'm thinking about doing a 12 days of Snortopia. Kind of like, it's basically like 12 days of Goutmas over on the main channel for Christmas. So I'm thinking about doing something like that, or I'll do some type of project for the holidays. You know, because I like the holidays. I enjoy it. I try to be festive in some way, shape, or form, no matter how small it is. But I'd like to try to do something. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. Very much appreciate it. Thank you yet again for the request. Like, so I'm going to keep trucking through those while also going over some regular videos. So I'll try to give you guys a mixed batch. And then we will open the requests back up again afterwards. But I want to try to hammer through everything that I have. So, yeah, that's pretty much the plan. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take care of yourselves. I've rambled on long enough. And, you know what I'm saying? Just take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys whenever the next video comes around. Later.